Obviously, you've had a ton of experience both before Facebook and at Facebook with payments. You recently wrote a piece that identified a lot of the problems with the legacy payment rails. And maybe you can kind of just walk us through what some of those problems that you've identified are and kind of why they're problematic, both in the United States and outside the US.
Well, the main reason they're problematic is because they leave so many people and businesses behind. And we kind of think about financial inclusion as a problem that is not an American problem, and that's absolutely untrue. There are over 62 million adults in the US who are currently unbanked and left behind by the current system. About 70%, a little shy of 70% of the payment volume in the US still goes over ACH, which was built in the 70s and takes 3 days to clear. So, we think that that's not okay. And then when you look at it from the global lens, then you have 1.7 billion people who are left behind by the current financial system and about 1 billion that's underserved because they just were born in the wrong place or live in the wrong place. And I feel that the way that the system is set is actually done in such a way that the least you can afford it, the more penalized you are by fees and all kinds of different access problems. And we feel it's just time for a change. As a matter of fact, it's actually overdue.
When you think about internationally, I think a lot of folks would say, okay, I expect there to be high percentage of people who are unbanked. Maybe I can't determine exactly which country, I can't determine exact numbers, but that makes sense to somebody that grew up in North America. But to hear that 60 plus million Americans are unbanked or underbanked, I think is shocking. Why do you think that number is so high? Is it something that is kind of systematic? Is it an education thing? Is it a technology barrier? What's driving that?
So there are lots of different reasons, and when we started on this journey, we wanted to make sure we talked to many people who were actually in that place where they didn't have access to the current financial system or decided proactively to not be part of it. And what we found is actually that a lot of people can have access to having a bank account or opening a wallet for payments, but they decide not to because they've been burned in the past by unpredictable fees that are actually, just withdrawn from their balance at the time they can afford it the least. And so they actually prefer to pay 10% for a check cashing operation at one of these places that are payday lenders rather than have a bank account just because of the predictability of that 10%. And so, that says a lot about how the current system is designed. And, people who are more fortunate, like you or I, we have all of these fees waived. So we don't have ATM fees. We don't have, overdraft fees. We don't have all kinds of other things applied to our account. And in the US right now, if your balance falls under $1,000 or $1,500 at any given point in time, some banks actually charge you a fee for having a bank account. And so just people can't afford it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy when you start to break it down. I remember somebody one time told me that the top 4 banks made like $8 billion in overdraft fees. And the way they pitched it to me was they basically were taking money from folks who didn't have money, right? And so it definitely is a scary situation. You came from PayPal before you went to Facebook. And I always tell folks the story of, I don't remember if it was you, Stan, or other folks on the Messenger team when I was at Facebook, but that was the first time I'd ever heard about Bitcoin specifically. And like a fool, I brushed it off and frankly didn't do too much research. Wish I had listened a little bit more.
Look at what happened since.
I atoned for my sins, but definitely made a mistake there. Walk me through kind of your journey with Bitcoin and kind of cryptocurrencies in general. How did you come across this? And was it something that you were excited about right away? Did it take some time to learn about it? Just walk me through kind of the beginning.
So yeah, I think the first time I came across Bitcoin was probably in 2009, late 2009 or early 2010. So really, really super early in the process. And I started looking into it. And then I'm like, okay, this is like way too geeky. And I don't right now have the time to actually, really understand it fully. And I kind of brushed it aside. And then it came back to my life in 2011. When a number of friends and people here in Silicon Valley started to be excited about it. And then I actually gave it a really legitimate shot at trying to understand. And as you know, because you've been talking about this way more than I have over the years now, even though it happened later, maybe, it just takes a ton of time to really, really, truly understand what is behind Bitcoin, how it was created, how it's able to sustain all kinds of different attacks over the years and all kinds of unforeseen events. And so that's when I really focused on it, is late 2011, and then it carried me through to 2012. And I've been a fan since then. I think it's just an amazing creation, and that I don't think can be replicated or will be replicated ever. So it's got this uniqueness to it that I find really appealing in this current economic climate.
Bitcoin's always one of those assets that I describe to people. Folks will be able to understand how it works if you tell them. But they'll say, yeah, but that's not possible, right? Like theoretically that would make sense, but you can't actually have a decentralized currency, et cetera. And as you kind of disprove their skepticism, they slowly become more and more convinced, which I think everyone kind of has to take that timeline, if you will. What's up, guys? Bang, bang. Thanks so much for watching the Best Business Show today. If we're gonna be the best business show, we obviously need the best partner. That's why the exclusive sponsor of the Best Business Show is SoFi. They're an all-in-one platform that allows you to invest in all kinds of different assets, including stocks, ETFs, crypto, IPOs, and they even have an automated investing function, if that's your thing. So before we start getting after it again, make sure that you go download SoFi, you get an invest account, and when you make your first crypto trade, regardless of what you buy, they'll give you $10 in Bitcoin for free. It's that simple. Head on over to SoFi.com/pomp to get started today. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you come back and watch more of the Best Business Show tomorrow.